Am I frozen on the Zoom or am I live now? I think I'm live. Phyllis?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Am I frozen or not frozen?
You were frozen before. Now you're not.
I'm actually very warm.
You and me both.
Hi. Sorry about your Dodgers.
Yes.
I don't know who's on here, and I won't know for a while. But This is Rick Concoff, and I'm gonna just mute. Ask you to mute just for now, till I open it up. And hang on a second, or you don't have to mute. Just we're not gonna say anything yet. This is how I've always started when I've done my my Shabbats. So we're on there, and we're on. Actually, Phyllis, do you want to check if I'm on Facebook? If you just go to my Facebook page, will you do that?
Yeah, okay. I want you to know that I tried it a few minutes ago and I couldn't find you on that, but I haven't done it since it's been 6 o'clock. So let me try again. I'm on my Facebook
page. I'm on Rick Concoff's Coffee House. I'm on YouTube, my YouTube channel. And I'm also
when I tried to do that, it said I needed to subscribe. Do I need to subscribe?
To Facebook?
Yeah, no, onto YouTube.
Yeah, just press the little subscribe button.
Oh, but then it asked me stuff.
Like what?
I don't remember. I can't remember anymore, so I decided to do it this way instead.
Okay, well, you could go on Stu's Facebook.
Well, that's where I am right now.
Oh, and can you see me okay on that?
Oh, no, I'm not. I tried it on Stu's Facebook and I couldn't.
You're on
You want
Zoom.
me to try right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I have a different device so I don't lose you on this device, okay?
So people are coming in.
Okay.
Hello, Josh. Oh, I am on Facebook.
Oh, good. Okay.
And anybody
I might try that too then. There you are, right. Facebook.
And anybody who wants to have the link to the YouTube, I will put it in a comment on the Facebook right now, if I'm able to do that. Let's see if I can do it. We're just getting started here. Actually, hang on. I can do it. I know I can do this. I know I can do it. Hello, Josh. How are you? Are you there, Josh?
Hello. Yes, sorry.
That's okay. Well. Nice to see you. I'm going to put it in the hang on a second. I have my Shabbat candles lit. You won't see them till they burn down a little bit. I should. Okay, there I am. I'm going to get the link right there. Copy link. And I'm going to put it on the Facebook. And Flo, you can tell me, hello, Flo. You can tell me if it's on. It should be now in the comment on the Facebook page. Okay. So there it is. It's a little bit delayed. All right. Next step, find a pick. As you can see, this is very informal. I'm just getting started. Just getting started. Now I have one of my favorite picks. Let's see if we have anything here. I'm waiting for a few more people to come on. So So thank you for your patience. I did not have a lot of time to prepare for tonight. So whether there's 3 of us or 10 of us, it'd be nice if there were 10. That is a minion. Oops. Am I feeding back or am I sounding okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, good. So if it starts feeding back, tell me. So welcome anybody who's here, and actually welcome anybody who's not here. I'm Rick Concoff, and I've invited whoever wanted to show up tonight to have a very special Shabbat. During the pandemic, I was doing Shabbat, online Shabbats every week, and it was sort of in response to a crisis. And it seems like I'm inspired again to come on, and I'll tell you my purpose for coming on. My purpose for coming on is just to offer a Shabbat prayer and some Shabbat sweetness for a very, very difficult week. Today I posted on my Facebook something that occurred to me, which is really, I think, appropriate, and that is that although we speak many different languages, we all laugh and cry in the same language. Although we speak different languages, we all laugh and cry in the same languages, in the same language, and that is the language of love. And so right now, I've decided that there are all kinds of points of view that people have brought to me and will bring to me. There is nothing but tragedy in all the arenas and loss. And whether one person is lost or dies because of anger and because of this conflict, or 1,000 people, it is equally tragic. And so I set up tonight on a Facebook if you just want to watch, or on a YouTube if you just want to watch. Also on Rick Concoff's Coffee House Facebook, you can find. And if you don't belong to Facebook, you can go on YouTube Live. And I think you just have to subscribe to my channel, which would be nice anyway. And so I'm going to wait to bless the candles until we can see the flames, because they're taller than where the camera is. But that will soon change. And as people come, let me see if anybody's in the waiting room. I don't see anybody in the waiting room. As people come, I will welcome them. I might even stop in the middle of a song. Start with the nigun. Oh, here comes somebody. Hello. Hello, Danielle.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, welcome.
Thank you.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Feel free to sing along. It will probably sound kind of cacophonous, but that's okay. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la. ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mikolot mayim, mayim rabim adirim. Bam yer bam ro Adonai, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine shevet achim gam yachad, hinei matov shevet achim gam yachad, hinei matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. So it's a time of sadness, a time of shock and disbelief, not the way that we thought we'd be feeling less than 24 hours after celebrating the joy of Sukkot. And now we're in a very different mode. For some, it's a mode of survival. So I would like to start and by saying a prayer that I was taught. It's an unusual prayer. I'm going to say it in English because I don't know it in Hebrew, but it's a prayer that I was taught to say if you're on the freeway, for instance, and you drive by and there's a horrible accident, and what goes through your mind is that perhaps someone was seriously injured or died. And so the blessing goes like this. And the blessing is inspired for me by the story of Job, which I'll refer to a little bit later. And welcome, Andrew. Andrew, if you want to come to the Zoom, I have put in the comment section the link. So you're welcome to come on Zoom, and Flo, you're welcome too. We'd love to see you. And Danielle, it's great to see your face. Where are you?
I'm actually up in Oregon. I'm going to Oregon State University now.
Wow, I don't think I've seen you in a couple of years. Danielle was graduating the class of
2020.
2020. And so you've been up there for 3 years now, or no, you just went up this year.
I just went up. So I was going to the JC and I just transferred this year.
Wow. Well, it's really good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
We'll know who's on the Zoom, but we won't know who's on Facebook unless they identify themselves, or on my YouTube channel. And if you haven't joined what's called Rick Concoff's, I was in Rick Concoff's class. Somebody made a Facebook page. And so that's another way to keep up to date. We're sitting here waiting for the Shabbat candles. They're slowly burning down, but they're not yet in the view of the camera, but they will be, and then we'll do the blessing. But the blessing goes like this. Blessed be thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who creates and makes things we can't understand. Because this is something that we can't understand. And in the story of Job, when this advocate of a strange sort comes up to God and says, this man Job is so devout, let's test him. And all kinds of horrible things happen to Job, ranging from he loses his family, they all die, and he loses his farm, he loses his crop, and eventually he is hit with a really big infection, I guess. He gets boils all over his body, and every time that something bad happens, he says, I still believe in God, I still have faith in God. As Elie Wiesel said when asked at a talk where I saw him live, how can you believe in God? Because Elie Wiesel, to the time of his death, was very devout and very observant as a Jew. And someone in the audience asked, how can you be so observant, so devoted to your belief in God when what you saw happen in the Holocaust? And Elie Wiesel said, it's simple. They're two different things. My belief in God isn't contingent upon good things happening. My belief in God is a separate faith, and it can't be rocked or changed. But in the very end of the Job story, when Job is himself almost ready to die, Job just asked God in kind of a way, why me? And we've all asked that question, why me? And God becomes infuriated because God says that's not that question, why me, means why not someone else? And there are things we can't understand. And maybe God has omnipotent power to make or foster anything good through us. So the inspiration of God, however we look at that, is able to be an inspiration to us to do wonderful things. And so I sometimes say that how God works is God gets in our head, and maybe as a verb, maybe God is a verb, maybe Moshiach, the Messiah, is a verb, and it's something we do. But because of choices that were made in the very beginning, maybe it's a God that can foster and inspire good things, but cannot stop bad things. Because if God could stop bad things from happening, then we wouldn't have free will. And so when we say, how could God let this happen? I think that if God possibly could have a response, and again, God isn't something that you say, that we anthropomorphize in any way, but God might say, why did we let this happen? Because we are in this world, we are all part of it, and we are part of the diaspora. And even though we're not in Israel and we're not feeling what's going on, we can feel the pain of an assault on our tribe and on our people. And I was searching for a song that reminded me of this. And I don't know if anybody remembers the song by the Byrds, Turn, 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 which is actually from Ecclesiastes. And I haven't sung it in a long time, but I listened to it. See if I can get a good key. That's a good key. Listen to the words. I'll have to scroll them up as I'm singing them. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to reign, a time of sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. I think those words, albeit in a way disturbing, are very poignant for this time. I'm going to try to get a link to Andrew. So Andrew, let's see. I think I can do it this way. So I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to go to participants. Okay, copy invite link. And Andrew, I'm going to text you. I'm going to put it in the link again. You should see it. Or Andrew, let's see, pin comment. I'm going to put it in the link again, in the comments again. There we go. See if it appears now. It's on my Facebook page. So I'm sure all of us have had discussions with people we know, people who have differences of opinion, people who have read part of the story, and people who have read some of the story, and maybe even people who know a great deal of the story. The story is of multi-thousands of years, and it's been going on for a long time, and we haven't been able to solve it. But if we look around the world at the various situations that are going on, that are violent, that are angry, that are racist, that are homophobic, that are anti-Semitic, that are sexist, that make stereotypes and treat people as they are some label rather than a human being, a member of the human race. And so it's going on all over. And what's happened is we've been confronted with kind of a giant display of what's been happening all the time. As a matter of fact, the people, many of the people who survived from the big dance party they were having said they have regular sirens and regular missiles being blasted all the time, even from both sides. And we all know that there never ever was. I always tell a kid at camp who says he didn't cause the problem, there never was any problem and conflict that didn't have at least two participants, maybe a problem, but not a conflict. And we all have a part in it. So I am encouraging people to not participate in the vitriol and not participate in the debate, because first of all, it's not happening here, it's happening over there. And we can't imagine what it feels like to be part of what's happening right now in that part of the world. What we can do, I believe, and especially in terms of it having just ended the High Holy Days, and a rabbi that I knew and worked with for many years told me that the period of tshuva, of looking into yourself for what was your part, what is our part, technically doesn't end till Shemini Atzeret. And really, it doesn't end all year long. So we have a lot to look at. Shabbat is never canceled. And so there is a piece of unity and joining together that happens for us on Shabbat that is solidarity. The other thing that I want to caution people about is there was an ancient Jewish philosopher in the 12th century named Moses Maimonides. He was a rabbi and a doctor and a scholar and maybe even a lawyer and a scientist. He was a brilliant, brilliant man. And he is the person, he's known as a nickname of Rambam. And he was the person that really still lives at the foundation of the Judaism and the value system that we all practice. And he was about a lot about value system. And so he's very hard to understand. And I've had trouble reading his writings, but someone wrote a book and said that you can sum up the sacred teachings of Maimonides in one sentence. And that can be applied a lot of the time. And that one sentence is, it's not about me. And I think we all have a tendency to make things in the world about ourselves because that's the only way that we can process it. But this isn't about me. This is about the people who are being impacted directly. And so I'm really encouraging people to not make it about them and to just hold it and to acknowledge and let pass through whatever feelings we have, and we can find ourselves on the side of loving kindness. We can always be on the side of loving kindness and generosity and gratitude and care and equanimity and the quest for peace, the search for a better way, empathy, mercy. All of those things, we can all be on that side. And for some reason, since the beginning of time, human beings have fought against people who were not like them, who were different. And the difference, of course, in tribal times meant, for some people, danger and bad. We have to get away from that. We have to get away from hating difference. We can see the flames now. I adjusted the camera a little bit. And so if you have candles there, you might want to light them. These are the Shabbat candles. I also have down here, which you can't see, a memorial candle for all the people who have lost their lives, especially in the last week. So let's just take a look at the flames, and hopefully they are flames of a promise of peace, and that we can still feel like the world is getting better. It's not getting better right in this moment, but we're going in the direction of better. And the lessons are painful, and the losses are painful and unexplainable. And we can have opinions, but it is not ours to judge. One of my favorite sayings from the Talmud is, before you look out the window, look in the mirror. Why don't we look in the mirror? And I have an acronym for conflict. And there are these situations that happen to us in life that aren't wars, that aren't atrocities, that aren't massacres, but we're very upset. We probably each have someone in our life, I'm not going to say who we hate, but who we really, really feel angry towards, and we don't feel compassion, loving kindness, mercy, or anything like that. And what they did is unforgivable. And we were all right and they were all wrong. And I'm going to say that I don't think that ever happens. And so there's an acronym that I dreamed up that is applicable in that situation, and it's called WIMP. W-I-M-P, don't be a wimp. WIMP is after you've said your opinion and you've won your argument, because everybody who has an opinion believes that they are the winner of their argument. I'm not going to say universally, but it's the nature of argument to believe that your opinion is the right opinion. The person you're arguing against is the wrong opinion. WIMP stands for what is my part? WIMP. What is my part? And that's kind of the same gesture as looking in the mirror. Because I don't think there ever was a conflict where if someone said, what was my part, that they wouldn't have a part. So join me in the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. This is a beautiful song written by Craig Taubman with the words Yedi Nefesh. As we look towards the possibility that things can be better. Yedi Nefesh Avarachaman, Meshochav Decha, El Retzonecha, Yaruchav Decha, Kimo Hayam, Yishkachaveh, Amul Hadarecha. ידי נפש אברחמן משוך עבדך אל רצונך אל רצונך. It's just so interesting that the candle lighting last Friday was this joy, was this bliss of this holiday Sukkot where we're supposed to dance and celebrate the joy of life, the joy of being alive. And we each had a personal experience with finding out what happened the next day, which actually was part of our Friday night. I woke up to a call of a former student who is in the IDF, in the Israel Defense Force, fighting, I believe, on the front lines. I hope for her safety. And the last time I talked to her, she had this youthful sound before the war started. And in that morning, she called, she said, "Rick, Israel's at war. I'll keep you informed." And she suddenly transformed in the moment from being a youth to being an adult. And her voice carried a somber tone. And I think it's fair to say that until we've stood in the boots and the bulletproof vest and the heavy uniform, armed as a soldier, with the possibility that we will be killed, or worse, with the possibility that we will kill, and having that moment before we have decided that this is the moment to defend ourselves. I don't know what that feels like. There's a lot of people who do know what that feels like, and whose lives continue to be painful to this day. And in a sense, their souls missing in action. So individuals who incite, who make comments that it's all the Jews' fault because they voted a particular way, or it's all the Palestinians' fault because we don't know them and it's easy to blame them, that we refrain from opinion and that we move towards resolution. I really do believe that Moshiach, the Messiah, the concept of the Messiah, is a pathway to peace and an end of hunger and an end of suffering in a global way. And it is a verb, and we each can do that verb. So the question now isn't whose fault is it or whose side are you on, but the question is, what can I do to make it better? What can I contribute to make it better? How can we become allies rather than enemies? I hear a siren in the distance. It's probably an ambulance or a fire truck. But it reminds me of what it must be like to be where all this horror is happening. And my prayer is that everything that's happening is part of the pathway to a better world. Every sacrifice, every death, every loss, every pain. Because as I said in the beginning, on my last trip out of the country, where I didn't speak the language, I noticed profoundly that we smile, we frown, we cry, and we laugh in the same language. And it's often the language of love. It's always the language of love. And the etymological root of the word ahava in Hebrew is about I give, not I take. So what can we give? And if we share arguments and alienation, it's all about us. And I think to everything turn is a good message. There is a time for everything. And the time now is not for vitriol, for anger, for more killing, for more yelling and shouting back and forth and accusing. It's a time to say, what is my part? Last night, I sang some old favorite Israeli songs from the Chalutzim days, from the pioneering days. And it was interesting because my students didn't know any of them because there have been so many incarnations and reincarnations of Jewish songs. And I love this one. I don't know if anybody knows it. It's a pioneering song about how important work is. And in Hebrew, the word avodah means work, but it also means practice, as in practice. I practice what I preach. I practice my religion and worship. Zoom, golly, 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 zoom, golly, golly, zoom, golly, 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 zoom, golly, golly. Echalutz lemon avodah, avodah lemon echalutz, echalutz lemon avodah, avodah lemon echalutz. Zoom, golly, 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 zoom, golly, golly. Zoom, golly, 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 zoom, golly, golly, zoom. That's from a long time ago, and it's a really great song. We're going to take a few minutes at the end for anybody who wants to offer a comment or to say something, but I want to stay away from contention and adversarial conversation, not because I don't think it's important, but because I don't think it needs to happen right now. There's a time. I think that is the statement that I've made to people who feel a contentious disagreement. I say there's a time for that. This is not a time for that. This is time for unity, solidarity, equanimity, and appreciation of the race that we all belong to, which is the human race. So there's another song that I love about Israel. And hello, Clary. Clary, I don't know if you know, we're also on Zoom, and you're welcome to join us there. And I did post on Facebook Live. I posted, actually, it's on Rick Concoff's Coffee House. I see. I posted the link, or if you text me, I can send you the link if you'd like to be on the Zoom. Otherwise, thanks for joining us on Facebook. Let's get a better key. Eretz Zavat Chalav, Chalav, Chalav Udevash. Eretz Zavat Chalav, Chalav, Chalav Udevash. Eretz Zavachalav, Hu Hachalav Uvash, Eretz Zavachalav, Hu Hachalav Uvash, Eretz Zavachalav, Chalav Uvash, Eretz Zavachalav, Chalav Uvash. We used to sing this at camp, and the kids would do that big hula in the middle. Eretz Zavat Chalav Uvash, land flowing in milk and honey. Maybe we've lost some of the essence of the pioneering days. I once sat Shiva for a man named Simon when he passed, and his family told me the story, the amazing story of how he and a lot of his colleagues and peers came to the United States from Eastern Europe to, of course, escape the horror of Eastern Europe, which we experienced last weekend, the pogroms. This will probably go down in history as another pogrom. And they made a trip to the United States, and they moved to Petaluma. Why did they move to Petaluma? They moved to Petaluma, and a lot of them were what you call Jewish socialists, and they moved to Petaluma to learn chicken farming, because Petaluma was famous for that, so that they could make Aliyah and do their dream of going to the Holy Land. They came here, and as we know, they got very comfortable in Sonoma County, and most of them didn't leave. They joined this fabulous synagogue in Petaluma called B'nai Israel, and they stayed here, but they brought this spirit. They brought this spirit that was alive before the Holocaust, this spirit of the pioneers and of creating a new land and a place to live where we wouldn't be persecuted and where we could live in peace. They ended up bringing that here. And all of the Yiddishkeit and all of the wonderful art and culture that was part of the Jewish experience prior to World War II has kind of been packed into a hope chest or a box. And there's nothing wrong with bringing it out now, because it can remind us of the intention that is, was, and will still be Eretz Yisrael. This is one I remember from camp. Haida, 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 haida. I don't know where I pulled that one out of, but I know it was one of the old kind of Yiddish nigunim. I watched something on TV that was really sweet. I was watching Anderson Cooper, who's in Israel and very close to the lines of fire. And he was talking about the kibbutz, the experience of kibbutz, and he kept saying kibbutzes. And it was so awkward that finally someone, I think, corrected him. And for the first time, he said kibbutzim, shyly. It was a moment. And I want to say again that sharing each other's languages is of paramount importance. And here we are in the United States, and we're looking from afar, and some of us are judging the behavior of all the parties involved. And yet, when we look in the mirror, as I said, instead of looking out the window, look in the mirror first, we see a culture right here, right in our county, right in our cities, right in our state, where a significant, close to half of the population are native Spanish speaking. And that as a teacher in school, I've witnessed that in most Spanish classes, that at best, a lot of students just try to pass the test and don't use it. Why we don't use our Spanish, and I speak Spanish and I make mistakes and have been laughed at and laughed with a lot. But when I meet someone who speaks Spanish, I want to speak Spanish to them, because an elephant in the room is that we don't want to talk about the power relationship. And if I'm speaking to someone, for instance, from Guatemala, and they don't speak the best English, and I speak English, and they're struggling to speak English, and I'm just floating along in English, they're trying to understand me, that can be a power relationship. And that, I think, is what inhibits students who are learning Spanish from using their Spanish in a state where we should be using our Spanish and we should be reaching our hands the other side. The other side. Oh, I look in the mirror and we realize, oh, we have our ghettos are not locked in per se, but our ghettos are locked in by economic hardship. Just as an example, if you live in Sonoma County and the most that you can afford is a really inexpensive, kind of less than maintained small place in Rio Nido, and you can't possibly afford to live anywhere else or pay rent anywhere else, and you're paying a ridiculous amount of rent anyway, it is a ghetto. You are locked in. So when we point way overseas, and no matter what opinion we have, when we look in the mirror, we can realize that, it's my belief, if we're not using our Spanish, if we're not having our kids learn and immerse in the Spanish language, then who are we? Who are we? How is that different? The racism and the prejudice that we have, and the border issue, we have the same thing. We have people whose lives are ravaged and whose children are co-opted in drug wars and in drug selling and cartels. And they're trying so desperately to get here, and we seal our border. So let's look in the mirror. Let's judge ourselves. The job that someone does in digging the trenches for the infrastructure, for new housing, makes maybe $16 or $17 an hour. And many of us make more than that for non-physical labor. And it's not to say that what we do isn't important, but there's some inequities right here. So maybe the best positive movement towards Moshiach, towards a better world, is that we look at ourselves and how do we make it more fair right here? And how do we share the culture of the people that live several miles away? And how do we make their schools as affluent and as privileged as ours? So this may sound far-fetched, but it occurs to me that we should have that discussion. and not a discussion that condemns anybody, but to say, it's so far away, but to say, what can we learn from this? What is the message? The tragedy has happened. What is the message? And how can we possibly make the sacrifices that people make of their lives, of their livelihoods, of their body? We are so fortunate. I think it's a good moment for the Shema. I translate the Shema as, blessed be the thing that we don't have a name for, the entity that we don't have a name for or a definition for, that reminds us that we are one. Listen, all of Israel, all of the diaspora, all of the world. We don't know what that is, but we know that it's one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. So this is actually a peace song from the 60s. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Gone to young girls, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the young girls gone? Long time passing. Where have all the young girls gone? Long time ago. Where have all the young girls gone? Gone to young men, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? And I realize this song is a little bit outdated as far as gender, but the meaning is the same. Where have all the young men gone? Long time passing. Where have all the young men gone? Long time ago. Where have all the young men gone? Gone to soldiers, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the soldiers gone? Gone to graveyards, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time passing. Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago. Where have all the graveyards gone? Gone to flowers, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever And in singing that song, I realized how this was an anti-war song of the 60s and how things have changed. And that the song doesn't really acknowledge all the genders and all the freedom of genders. And it carries the stereotype of young girls marrying young men and young men going to war and young men dying. And while it may be outdated, look how far we've come. We've come so far that this anti-war song, which was so popular and so cutting edge in the 60s, has now outdated and even maybe offensive language. So the way that I look at that is it means that there's a possibility that in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, our songs, our words, our comments, our behavior, hopefully, may be so outdated. Look how far we've come. And I didn't realize it until I started singing that song. Look how far we've come. We can look back in time and look at Abraham Lincoln and say, well, he shouldn't be admired because he really was at heart a racist. He thought that Black people should be free, but not necessarily that they were equal in every other way. And he stated that in one of the Lincoln Douglas debates. So why wouldn't we condemn him for that? Look how far we've come, and look how far we have to go. Let's see if this one's okay. Today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine, I'll taste your strawberries, I'll drink your sweet wine. A million tomorrows shall all pass away, ere I forget all the joys that are mine today. Well, I'll be a dandy and I'll be a rover. You'll know who I am by the song that I sing. I sleep in your clovers, I sleep in your clovers. Who cares what tomorrow may bring? Today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine, I'll taste your strawberries, I'll drink your sweet wine. A million tomorrows shall all pass away, ere I forget all the joys that are mine today. I can't be contented with yesterday's glories. I can't live on promises, winter through spring. Today is my moment, now is my story. I'll laugh and I'll cry and I'll sing. Today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine, I'll taste your strawberries, I'll drink your sweet wine. A million tomorrows shall all pass away, ere I forget all the joys that are mine today. So, can we possibly sit in equanimity? Can we possibly have tears which are universal? For every person that is hurt in this conflict, for every person that dies in this conflict, for every person who loses someone. And once you lose someone, it becomes a lifetime pursuit to forgive. Some of us know that, some of us don't. But the power to forgive and the power to move forward, because we can't do anything else. We cannot change the past. We cannot erase what happened. We don't have a whole lot of control about what's happening. There's certainly as much sorrow and tragedy in the Russian war in Ukraine, in Darfur, in places in Central and South America, where such atrocities take place on a daily basis. It starts with thoughts, which leak into words, which sometimes become actions. And so I think what we might do is every time we get a negative thought, see if we can eliminate it before it even becomes spoken and certainly acted upon. 38 of the 613 commandments, the mitzvot, talk about use of words. And I have to reflect back on myself this week and how many times I've made comments that didn't need to be made. Anybody who is on Facebook Live and would like to come onto Zoom, I invite you. Or if you want to put comments in the comment box, I want to say hi to Andrew, and I want to say hi to Clary, and I want to say hi to Mom. Hi, Mom, and Svetlana, and Phyllis, and Josh, and Danielle. And even if something that I have said is something you disagree with, we as Jews, and hello Flo too, we as Jews rejoice in our ability and our privilege and our freedom and our right to disagree. In our right to have hurt feelings, but can love be stronger than that? I'm not one that just says the only thing we can do is pray. But I can say that righteous acts and self-correction are positive steps towards the dream of the gesture and the verb that we call God, that there is a place that's just like cyberspace. We can't touch cyberspace. We can't describe it. We can't feel it. We can be in it and we can take advantage of it, but it's relatively invisible. And yet we are either online or not. And I like to wander into a place called God space. Has the same characteristics as cyberspace. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't make a picture of it, you can't show what it looks like. And you're either online or you're not online. And I'm afraid that we've all stepped out collectively of God space. And that the way I've found to step into God space is to do a mitzvah. Because mitzvot, and when I say a mitzvah, I mean some of the mitzvot, and I also mean doing something that is kind and compassionate and unselfish. Because That is exponential. When you are kind and do an act of kindness to one person, and that person feels it and shares it with another, and that person feels it and shares it with two, and those people share it with four, and pretty soon it becomes exponential. Loving kindness is exponential. So maybe what we need to do worldwide is to smile together, is to laugh together, and to cry together. And we can look at each other's faces and know what we're feeling and know what we're saying. So I'm taking some time this week to look in the mirror and ask, what is my part? This is such a hard time. I don't know that children, small children, even maybe young, just pre-teenagers, understand what's going on. I don't know that any of us understand. But there's plenty of credible information that can help us understand. And a lot of it lives in information, a lot of it lives in our hearts. So if anybody wants to share anything, if you're on Zoom, you can say it. And if you're on Facebook, you can write it. And hopefully it will be in the category of loving kindness. And maybe a song for peace would be nice. Sim Shalom. As we pray for peace together. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom Tova Uvaracha. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom Tova Uvaracha. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom Tova Uvaracha. So this is a candle that I've lit in honor of the thousands now of people who have died tragically, painfully, and left people whose hearts are broken. So what can we do? If anybody has any suggestion about what we can do to make it better, certainly I've gotten a very clear message that if you know somebody in Israel, call them. Maybe not right now because it's 5:14 a.m. on Saturday morning. It's about exactly a week from the time when the horror broke out. But call your people on WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. It's free. They want to be called. They want to be acknowledged. They want to know that Israel is not just the country Israel, but Israel is all of the world of Jews and all of the world of people who care and all of the people who the Jews care about, which should be everybody. Reach out to a family member and just share love. So many of those people that perished have family members who now would give anything for one last word, for one last song, for one last hug, for one last laugh, for one last cry. And none of them expected that day on earth would be their last day on earth. So say what you need to say, and say what you can say that makes people feel good, that makes people feel seen. Call the people that you know that don't feel seen, that are alone. Because goodwill is exponential. So that's what I'm doing. And I appreciated seeing you all on Shabbat. I know there are some people on Facebook who we don't know who they are, but I'm so glad you're there. And let's keep our connection. I'm going to close with bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Also, I would encourage you to take the day. It is Shabbat. Take the day. Say the blessings. Spend some quiet time. And let's figure out how we can make this thing better, because that's the only positive direction that we can go in. So Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Love to everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome. I hope we have a week of peace, right?
Yeah.
It could happen.
Yes. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
It was wonderful.
All right. Love to all you guys.
Love you.
See you next
Love
time.
you too. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.